It's like, it's a pleasure watching him play.
Gotta love good support play. Let's get ready for game number 2 here as we continue through this best-of-5 series. The battleground choice will be Braxis Holdout.
Woo!
We haven't seen this in a while. You're a bit of an expert on this map.
So we see this map pretty often in North America, but we don't get to see it very often in Europe. But the fact that it's Team Expert choosing the map makes me wonder if something fishy's going on.
They've been fishy on this map.
I don't think they've been that fishy.
They haven't been that fishy. Not like
Yeah.
literal fishy, but they've been fishy.
I would say Probius over Murky if it's really an expert draft. But the thing is, in Europe, traditionally, what we've seen is, for example, Dignitas play the map a lot.
Yeah, and Dignitas plays a very push-centric playstyle.
Exactly. Dignitas, when they played it, and there was some time back, played with a heavy focus on global. So they would love to go for Dehaka and Falstad on the map. Had very cool rotations happening and very nice lane splits as well. When we're talking about Team Expert, they had some approaches where they ran AD-RD as a solo laner. We have seen them play with Probius, for example, in the past. And sometimes they just go for super hyper-aggressive moves where they try to get quick rotations and quick kills in. So that ban is exactly what I wanted to see.
Yes.
Medivh on this map, yes, you have to ban him out. If you have Expert against you and they have the map choice and they go for Braxis, you are suicidal if you don't ban Medivh.
I mean, one of the most standout matches in HGC EU for me was actually Team Expert versus Team Dignitas on this very battleground. It was really interesting in this because they had a style of composition where they could one-shot, but they had that double global, and they ended up going Syndragosa and securing an early keep, but Team Expert recovered from that position in the bot lane. Like, that game to me was actually wild. One of the most historic HGC EU games, and
but you are aware how much Dignitas, in hindsight, regretted that Syndragosa pick,
oh,
right?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
We probably won't see it again. But yeah, so Team Expert is a team that has roots on this map, and
you probably just triggered Mena. I know he's watching, and now he remembers that game, and he's just like, God.
No, that's good. That's good. In case we play them at BlizzCon, I want them to be tilted.
Dang, already coming out just like that. Well,
he's playing long game here, right?
It's a long set up there.
Yeah, see.
Mena sits down to play his keyboard, and Glaurung's words just go through his mind once again.
Mena is already writing his tweet right now. It's like, all right, Glaurung, come at me.
Well, looking into the bans, first off, you talked about the Medivh ban, you're glad to see it, but I enjoy it too, because too many times this season, we would have Medivh come out in game number 1, and we would wait till game number 3, game number 4 before the ban came out. Team Wish not toying around with it, taken away there from Team Expert. But Zagara being banned out, this is something that we've seen from Team Liquid a lot, but it's getting banned more often on this battleground.
The interesting part is that ever since Team Liquid brought Zagara back on the map and started to use her as a global and also in push scenarios, other teams have been starting to experiment with her a little bit more and pick her up. I still wouldn't have really expected Team Expert to ban her out here, but I can see why, since you have players on the side of Wish that would excel with her in the setup.
Zagara on Braxis, throughout Braxis' history, it's been like an on and off relationship. She'll be at the top of the meta one time, and then you won't see her for a period of months, and then she'll make a resurgence. And like, I think that overall, the amount of siege threat she has on the map does warrant an addressment, but not necessarily do I think it's worthy of a first ban. But Zagara is really strong. And they end up going Greymane and Nubarok. I think that leaves them very open-ended. Greymane's got the potential to trade siege really fast, good wave clear overall, good ranged. You can't really set yourself behind in any draft if you just select the Greymane, because he's so versatile.
It also at the same time now shows that they're not afraid of Uther being picked together with Genji, so they're not afraid of that synergy here. And Genji, of course, excels on the map. The mobility that he has alone to traverse between lanes is super strong, but overall he's just a fantastic first pick.
Not to mention the shenanigans with the deflect that he can do.
Perfect defense.
Not only on like the boss, but on the Night Camp too, because their attack rate is so fast. He's able to just efficiently do mercenaries so well. I doubt we'll see it here, but I've actually been having a lot of fun with Dragonclaw.
And Uther is completely ignored here. Him not having sustain to really sit in those lanes, if there is a poke composition that comes his way, you can see that he has a major disadvantage on this battleground. And so far, Team Wish is not even going down that route. They got Rhaegar instead.
And I think Uther is kind of a detriment on Braxis in general unless you force that double support, because the way like the laning phases end up sometimes, it's a long, drawn-out poke. And Uther's not the best solo support in that scenario.
And once he runs out of mana, you basically win the beacon immediately. What I thought was really interesting that for a moment, Kel'Thuzad was actually hovered by Team Expert.
The ban.
I can absolutely see that as a ban after Poik showed the hero here. But now they're looking at Kel'Thuzad, they're looking at Gul'dan. Poik excels on both, so it's like, what are you less comfortable going up against? Exactly.
I mean, there is a way you can deny both, and Greymane Gul'dan is a good composition, so banning the KTZ and then picking up the Gul'dan yourself might be their thought process. But yeah, I mean, we saw it on Dragonshire. He had a phenomenal KTZ game, and the synergy between Shad and Poilk was really, really good on the Genji and the KTZ, respectively.
KT out. Tacet are also being banned away here. Team Wish not allowing for that double support to come in for the opposing team. Now, do we see that Gul'dan get picked up here for Team Expert, or do we see a style that's kind of popped up a lot, especially in North America, where you grab a double support, put one in the top lane with, of course, a damage dealer / laner, and then sit on the other side with a 3v2?
So from my perspective, I'd like to see the Gul'dan deny, and with this setup, you could actually do the double support with the Greymane in one lane, Gul'dan in the other. You have good wave clear, respectively, good trading potential, and then a new rock just rotates between top and bottom and messes with the shrines. I think that's a playstyle they could go for, but I don't know if that's overall what Expert has in mind.
Yeah.
Because they chose the map, if they wanted to do something a little bit crazy, it would be either on these next two picks if it's Cho'Gall, but if it's not Cho'Gall, then they could last pick it. But I don't know. Something inside is just screaming that something's up with Expert. I don't know what it is.
With Expert and Braxis, you would expect something a little bit crazy to happen. One of the things that we have to also talk about is that with Aethero on the map.
Okay, Sonya, Abba. So that's a bit unusual, the Abathur on Braxis.
Yeah, the question was, what does ADR play? That's basically the big question. So with this, we have him now on Abathur, and he can accent the Sonya a bit. I wouldn't have put it past them to put ADR in a position where he holds the solo lane on his own, and they put then all of a sudden Aethero into the 4-man and try to play a way more aggressive 4-man than they normally do, whereas ADR just says, okay, I'll hold the lane, I don't lose anything here, and you do the rest, and you really just force them.
And Sonya Abathur, like, has an incredible matchup into Genji.
Yeah.
Post level 7, once that Poison Spear comes online, especially post level 10 once Wrath comes online, if you have a Sonya with a hat spearing you, you're pretty much dead. So that's something that Team Wish has got to take into consideration with this Genji pick. He's got to play a little bit more reserved and pay attention to the enemy team's cooldowns before he goes in.
And I like the adjustment, too, to the Genji. Genji typically makes that one-on-one on the top such an annoying matchup to go into. Sonya could be bounced on any point with him dashing across the battleground. So now that you have the Abathur, at least you have some help that can make sure that that Genji gank that constantly comes in makes it a good spot for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ooh, the Chromie. I like that a lot.
Yeah, Chromie is great here.
I like it more than the Gul'dan simply because of looking at Team Expert's draft. Being a Gul'dan into Abathur, Sonya, Anub'arak, Greymane is pretty scary, but Chromie, she has the option for Ice Block at level 11 as well as Slowing Sands, and she can deal damage from such a far range, so I think it's a really safe pick.
At this point, Poik's hero pool just scares me because
what do you do?
We've seen exactly. We've seen earlier Expert like rotating between. Okay, do we ban Kel'Thuzad? Do we ban Gul'dan? He's great at both, and then Poik comes in and says like, you know what, guys, I don't even care because I pick Romy, and I just completely destroyed with it over the last few days as well. And then he has his Tracer plays too. It's just this guy is getting insane. And now Zarmany again on Malthael for that top lane. That's also going to be a great choice for them.
Yeah, and be able to poke back and forth there. Have the Genji come in and help him at any point. Team Wish looking pretty good for this battleground. How does Team Expert round out their composition to make sure that they can win the Beacon phase?
Well, they need a support, and I think they have a few good options left for them. They want a support who has reasonable sustain, but at the same time, yeah, I was going to say, like, the Brightwing is really good because you can fluctuate from that bottom to top lane, especially if you do like a Sonya with an Abathur hat top lane. If she gets ganked by 2 people, then suddenly you have the advantage because instead of it being a 2v2 where who knows who comes on top, the Brightwing phase shifts and it turns into a 2v2 with a hat, 2.5 versus 2. I mean, I'm on the analyst desk, but 2.5 is greater than 2 now. I can do that math at least.
You killed
so
it.
They should be able to win that.
You sure? You're confident?
Confident.
Okay. How does it affect... the plight of a caster. Caster math. How does it affect their team fight on the other hand, if you think about it? I mean, long drawn out, yeah. That can definitely hurt them a little bit in the later stages, I feel. For the rotations, it's fantastic. And as you said, if you have any kind of setup against the top lane and you jump in with Abathur and Brightwing, you have a fantastic scenario where you maybe can turn it against them, get the kill. But if you head into the mid and late game on eye level and you end up in team fights, then how much do they suffer because they have Brightwing, whereas Rhaegar is on the other side?
I mean, certainly they will suffer in team fighting aspects, but Team Expert realistically with this draft shouldn't be planning on taking a team fight without a clear advantage. So even though they have the Brightwing, with the draft they have, if played to their game plan, they should be able to develop a talent advantage or something of those sorts that compensates for the fact that they drafted more for the macro style and less for the team fight style. You want to wait and develop that advantage, and then once you have that advantage, it no longer matters that your comp is weaker.
Yeah. So for the early game, we are expecting Team Expert to be able to grab a few of those beacon phases, of course, getting the Zerg pushing for them. If they can continue to move forward with that, they'll be in a great spot. But if there's a chance there for Team Wish to win the beacon phase, Team Expert might be hurting. Let's go to game number 2 here and see what exactly will happen in this best of 5 series. Will we have the series get tied up with a Team Wish win, or will a 2-0 start coming towards Team Expert's way?
Game number 2, ready to roll with Team Expert running Curson today on Brightwing. The team is in the lead in this best of 5 with Bad Benny at the front line again on an Uberak this time. Ethero playing Sonya, the aggressive off-tank. ADRD now on the little slugger here, lending his support with Abatha. And Nick, last but not least, again on Greymane, as we've seen him in game number 1.
On the right side, Team Wish, hoping to tie up this series here. Grandpa will be your Rhaegar player. Mopsio back on his ETC. He showcased that the first couple of weeks in the HGC. Poik playing Chromie, Zarmany back on Malthael. Look for those Tormented Souls, and Shad playing Genji.
And Team Wish had a fantastic first game. Team Expert was the team walking away with the victory, but overall, the especially early game of Team Wish was very good on Cursed Hollow, and they definitely showed why they made it all this way into the last best of 5, where it's decided which team will head to BlizzCon.
Warpaint being picked up for Sonya, looking to be a bit of a bully in that lane, but also helping at the stain against a Malthael that's coming your way. But if you think you can win your lane, especially with a Abathur hat coming your way, Warpaint can be a great pickup for that level 1. Mopsio and Bad Benny dancing in the middle of the map, but nothing happening quite yet for our teams. They want to make sure they get to the laning phase in a good state.
Yeah, and especially with Chromie here, of course, the poke is going to continue down to that bot lane. Brightwing currently set up. And everybody's just like shocking around now. You can see how Genji, for example, is also providing some vision. You can tell that Expert is looking for some aggressive openings already, especially with the globals that they have. Bad Benny eating a lot of free damage here, and that's definitely going to force him back, which allows Team Wish to take a bit of control here in the early stages. But it was pretty awesome to see on the minimap how they were really both teams.
Yeah.
First of all, playing it safe, trying to see if there's maybe someone trying to rotate in from the side. So for Team Wish, it was more about securing their laners. And at the same time, Team Expert seeing if they can maybe get an early advantage with a quick kill.
Yeah, that was quite the elaborate plan there from the Anubis to come all the way around the map. But just getting spotted barely allowed for Team Wish to set up their countermeasures, and they were able to get the exchange to go heavily in their favor. And they're making sure that nothing fishy is going to happen. They're watching the Fog of War on the right side. Oh, but Poik is going to get caught out on the bottom side. They did not see that. And Team Wish will have their first death of the game.
Yeah, Poix thought that he was absolutely safe because the thing is, they were trying to, Team Wish was trying to actually control the rotations and see if anybody is moving back down. So they were trying to control the vision. And Poik at that point just thought that there's no way someone is approaching him from the top. But Team Expert was sneaking past them outside of the vision range, and that's why they could just easily jump in. And since Poik thought he was safe, he moved way farther out than he normally would have. So that's an early kill for Team Expert. Shouldn't become a big issue, but ETC is in trouble, and he's now down. So that's a second kill all of a sudden, and this is starting to hurt Team Wish a lot. Expert is really starting to get some momentum here. Half a level lead for them already.
Yeah, they are finding small windows, and they are delivering, getting a couple of kills already. The beacon phase will begin. They have the bottom side control, and with Sonya on her way to the top side, she should be able to grab a little bit of the percentage available for her team, while ETC has just spawned and is heading back towards the fight.
Now, both of the teams have taken a camp that has helped with the push potential, but now we have the lead in experience for Team Expert, especially thanks to the damage that they dealt to the structures at the bot lane. But Grandpa Kette is in trouble, gets stunned once again. Grandpa trying to move out. Bad Benny might fall, but he survives. Mopsio doesn't commit to anything here. So it's 3 kills against 0. Team Wish not getting the counter kill they were hoping for.
And it continues. Team Expert is pushing the top side with Curson. Using the phase shift, he comes in. A Thorough is able to get a kill on Malthael. Team Wish is hurting here. A total of 4 kills already before 4 minutes even hit. 3 minutes and 30 seconds have been here. We have 4 kills and 32% beacon progress for Team Expert.
Yeah, Team Wish is absolutely getting wrecked right now. That early game definitely hurt them a lot. Expert, you can argue, in 1 or 2 situations, even got a bit lucky. ETC, for example, surviving at the bot lane. Anubarak surviving at the bot lane, I think it was absolutely crazy considering how many hit points he had left. But still, with the rest of the setup, they are just all over the map. They are jumping in with the symbiote on Abathur. Brightwing is rotating quite quickly, and that just pays dividends for them right now. They're doing extremely well, and they can now pressure more structures, gain more experience, and they will pick up a very early level 7 talent.
And Team Wish is trying to get back in the game here by grabbing the Merc camp on the bottom side and controlling what they can near the beacon progress. ADRD thinking about taking it, but the moment ETC shows up, he pulls away. So only 30% over to Team Expert. They have a level lead, but Team Wish is looking to stabilize.
Yeah, they're trying to stabilize this as much as they can, but they are, of course, still a talent behind. 6 versus 7 in levels, and that is reflected in the talents now as well. Mopsio is showing Nick that he's aware of what's happening, but Nick is not afraid at all, because there's Abathur around, there's Brightwing around. Both of them know what's happening. Now Chromie is getting picked off as well. Expert is just controlling this early game from start to finish. We have 5 kills against 0 at this point, and Team Wish is suffering.
Yep, with the shield being grabbed at level 7, and of course the extra range on dive. For the Anubrak, Chromie is in a very vulnerable position, and that engage on the top side allowed for the Anubrak to catch her with the Sonya follow-up. Another pick-off once again, 5 kills to 0. Beacons now being grabbed once again. Team Expert will start the channel.
Wish is scared. There are talent behind, that's already a problem. They know that Abathur can help out whenever, and that Brightwing can jump in. So even if they are in 2 versus 2 scenario, they are very hesitant to actually engage since they know it can turn within a second. But now the beacon progress is already at 80% against 0, so Team Wish had to engage into this to recapture the beacon. They've finally done that, but at the same time you can tell that they are having a very tough time here. Level 7 helps them now to at least play on even talents, but it's still a rough game for them so far.
Certainly a rough game, and it'll be even more rough, especially if the entire beacon progress goes into Team Expert's favor with 100% to 0. The wave clear for Team Wish is quite small. Poik already in trouble once again. Mopsio being popped up by an Impale. Shad also getting low on health. So 2 kills from Team Expert will award them this beacon on the bottom side. Can they grab the one on the top and get the 100%?
Wish is getting slapped around here. This is insane. We have currently 7 kills against 0. Expert is dominating everything here. They should get also the beacon, second one, and once we are having 100% against 0, that push is scaring me so much because it will hit level 10 for Team Expert, and Wish is miles away from getting the heroic abilities. So if Expert plays their cards right with a decent push, they can snowball that all the way through the keep.
We'll see if they can do that here as they are setting up. They're even grabbing the Hellbats for the bottom side. They have extended some pressure on the top side too with Sonya, Nubrak, and Genji, or Greymane in that area. Genji on his way. They might be able to get a pick if he's not careful. We do have Shad take the safe route to that top fort, so he'll be just fine. And now it's all about defense for Team Wish on the bottom while they drop the slowing sands and do what they can.
Yeah, they are likely to lose 2 forts here, and even if the bottom fort is defended, it should be low so that they can move in later on and simply take it whenever they please. Level 10 any moment now. Expert is fully committed to the top, and Team Wish doesn't have a single hero there. They are absolutely aware that if one hero shows, it will immediately die. So right now the fort is gone. It's a 2-level lead that we're talking about. The rotation to the bot lane has started. Thanks to the time traps, at least there's nothing happening just yet. But as we said a bit before, this is the jump onto the fort itself. And they are already moving in. They have their level 10s, and they should be able to do a lot of work here.
Have to be a bit careful with that slowing sands on the top side, but ADRD moving in with that clone, looking to put some damage on that back line. Nothing really pops up for his team, so he'll pull away. But Team Expert has pinned Team Wish down in the fort area.
Yeah, but that still went a lot better than it should have, because the coordination and the approach of Team Expert was not quite what they wanted. If you think about it, even jumping the tower and the keep also the fort didn't even matter, because both of them were about to be out of ammunition already, and there were also minions pushed into the range that were soaking even more shots. So with level 10 abilities, they could definitely commit it, but once the copy is done, you can't really do that anymore. You don't want to engage into that fight where you might end up losing your advantage, so they had to move back. So that went better for Team Wish than it arguably should have, and it buys them a bit more time in which they can try and recover. But now they're attempting to take a camp, and it just gets stolen away by Expert. I mean, the hits just keep coming.
Yeah, playing with fire there. Hoping their opponents were grabbing the Mercs to the top left of the battleground so they could grab their own, but Team Expert not going to give away an inch here. Move in, grab them, and this allows for them to actually push into this fort. And you mentioned it, it's low on ammo, only 3 shots being available. Should get cleared up from the beetles that Bad Benny is currently creating, and this should be a fort pickup here as a Thorough and Bad Benny focus it down.
For Team Wish, of course, the only thing that you have on your mind is to somehow stop the bleeding. And usually how you do that is you want to get level 10. Then on 10, you can at least get access to your most powerful ability, and from there on, you have an opportunity. But Expert is now even using that little window that they have and try to go for the boss. Shadow spotted it super early though, so there is at least a consideration for Team Wish to move in and try and do something about it.
Impale comes out, and wow, Genji is deleted. Team Expert are able to grab the boss. Mafio lay on the stage dive, and now he's on the wrong side of enemy territory.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the thought process here was, but that's an Ancestral trying to save him somehow. I don't think that's gonna happen. Mopsio is down, and now Zarmany is also low. He's doing an admirable job on Malthael and tries to move out, but that's of course 2 kills against Team Wish. Now I feel like there's 2 things here. First of all, once that Genji dies, going in with ETC is odd. Let's put it that way. But if Genji actually survives, you could already tell that even in a 4 versus 5 situation with Malthael and what he brought to the table here, only Brightwing on the other side for the heals, that looked actually pretty solid. If Genji is alive at that time, they can definitely take these team fights, and that comes back to what we talked about in the draft.
Yeah.
A 5 versus 5 team fight, Wish is looking actually pretty good there. But as soon as they engage into these 4 versus 5 battles, they are of course suffering, and that was the problem because ETC was just a bit too late. Of course, he was late because the level 10 hit that late. It was not that he hit the button today, but with Genji already dead, there was just very little that they could accomplish.
Yeah, I can see a world where they're trying to go for that miracle play, because remember, he did pick up base mail or loudspeakers at level 4, which will of course allow for a bigger knockback, so maybe he thought, maybe I can steal this boss, but that's really difficult against a Brightwing. It's quite the push.
Yeah.
Well,
it definitely is.
Speaking of pushes, look at the top lane here. 100% Zerg wave, running towards the keep, and Team Expert is running away with this game.
And this is a result of ETC dying.
Yep.
The beacons were both taken because ETC wasn't there. So now the keep is gone. You have a 2-level disadvantage still, and your opponent has taken the keep and has an opportunity now to, at some point, go for core whenever they claim another structure later. So this one is still going to be defended, I feel, especially with now Team Expert moving back. But this is still Wish getting hammered into the ground here. 9 kills against 0. What Team Wish needs is to force a decent 5 versus 5 fight where they can take an advantage and they need to claim at least 3 lives and then snowball it a bit to take structures down so that they close the experience gap. But I mean, that's wishful thinking.
Look at these Abathur mines everywhere, Caldor. It is impossible for Team Wish to push out on the middle of the map. They have their top keep taken away, which means catapults will constantly be there. Things are not looking good for Team Wish. If they make a comeback here and earn a win, it will be because of pure determination and pure will.
Yeah, I mean, you can wish upon a star at this point that you get that 5 versus 5 you are hoping for. But it's not going to be easy, especially since the blue team has shown expert play so far.
Okay, Team Wish and Team Expert continue to battle it out. As Team Wish is looking for that 13, about, what,
I'll see myself
away?
out, it's fine.
Nah, man, you nailed it. You're good, you're good. They definitely will have to drop a few coins in the wishing well in order to make a comeback here.
Oh, I like that one. That was good.
Yeah, they definitely have to. I stole that from Twitch chat. I'm not going to lie. It was a good one.
Oh, I appreciate that. A big shout out to Twitch. No, but seriously, right now, Wish is going to get their 13 talent. That's something that's definitely going to happen. So at that point, I mean, to be honest, throw a Hail Mary mode. Try and move in, force something, and force a fight. Because if you let your opponent play around you, then Expert is going to do that until level 16, and then they are going to simply take a fight with a talent advantage and are going to wreck you. So you want on 13 to force a battle, if you can. There's still ETCs defending. They went into stage drive, which I actually really liked to mirror the global. So I think that's something that they had to. But now with Expert on 15, get your 13 talent, force a fight. I don't think you can delay this until 16-16. That just, nah, Expert is not going to allow that.
Especially with the beacon progress, pushing in the bottom side. They can have 2 ways they go. They can just barrel down the bottom side, go in for the keep and go for one in the core, or they can even split push and go to the top side and stretch your resources thin, where you're going to lose the keep no matter what.
I mean, don't get me wrong, in an ideal world, you would try and wait for level 16 so that Malthael gets his momentum Mori, but he hasn't even completed his Black Harvest. He's currently sitting at 67 stacks and he needs 150, so it's way too much. But the rest of the quest talents has mostly been completed. Chromie, not there yet. She's on 37. But here's that Hail Mary that I just talked about. This is exactly that one move where they say, guys, we need to do something. I'm actually surprised that Expert doesn't call that yet. Expert probably thought they're not there yet, and now the boss is taken, and we could see that fight. I'm pretty sure that Expert missed the rotation towards the boss.
Yeah, they did. All the mines were cleaned up there by Genji and crew, so they're able to move in and grab the boss, and Team Expert gives it up. ADRD is going to be cleaned up on that Ultimate Evolution clone, and now Team Wish, they have some stock here to try and get back.
Yeah, 16 is what Expert wants. Expert is going to be willing to give up a bit of beacon progress, especially since they know that HGC will soon have to go back to deal with the push that's towards the core here. But that's a little bit of progress that we have. ETC committed to the stage dive, which also means that the top is still pushing out. He can't easily move back, needs to wait. And I don't understand that, to be honest. Like,
yeah, the stage dive was odd.
ETC should have moved back and saved the stage dive so that he can come back into the fight. It's a little bit weird to me, because now they are taking massive damage on their core because ETC couldn't play that role. So Malthael is now back, which means Expert knows fully well that there's a 4 versus 5, and they are trying to push for the fight.
And it's not like that was a blind stage dive too, assuming someone might be there. There was a boss with vision giving them all the information they needed. Team Wish makes a bit of a weird call there with that stage dive, and now they are in a bad spot. 16-14, just hoping to control this bottom beacon with slowing sands and ETC.
I mean, they're back with Malthael now, but the end result was losing 30% on the core. And I don't think that was really needed. We have that level 16 situation that we've been talking about earlier. Wish has gotten the boss, so that was great for them. They have gotten 30% on the beacon progress. It's another win, but they are aware that they still need 1.5 levels for level 16 talents. So right now, you have to be careful about the top lane. ETC is there, has stage dive back, so he needs to make sure that he's not getting ganked, because that's a huge threat right now, that Expert is trying to make a play for core. And at the same time, at the bot lane, they're trying to hold the beacon. So this is like that important dance. In an ideal world, they would probably try to hold the top beacon instead, but then the bottom keep would be pressured. So they are hoping to get 16 by just delaying everything here.
Team Expert going for a large flank, looking for the Chromie. They'll find a Zarmnia. Thorough is jumping on top of him with the aid of Right Wing. Here is a stage dive to help heal out, as Team Wish is fighting for this area.
Yeah, immediately Cocoon comes out. And again, that was a very early stage dive once more. The one reason why I say that is because Expert did not arbitrarily choose that moment. They used the moment when we saw another cam coming through the top lane. So now, again, we have catapults on the core. So that was absolutely on purpose how Expert timed this. Cam pushes through the top, force the fight, force ETC to use stage dive, and now core points are being lost again as we're seeing Team Wish trying to reclaim the core. And now Expert is willing to just simply go for the fight. Zarmony with the Dominant Souls, they're going in, Pork is about to fall, he goes down, Nick gets the kill, the core is getting attacked in the meantime, and Nubrak falling, the first kill for Team Wish in this entire game, and now Zarmony is starting to pop off. They get the kill against Greymane, big win for them here, level 16, so now they might be able to do something here, especially if they can net a few more kills in this scenario.
Looking for Sony here. Curson doing his best to support on the bottom side to allow Sonya to get away, but it looks like the call's been made to give up on the Sonya. Thorough popping the Wrath. Can he get over the wall here in a second? Here he goes, continuing to pop on out. Ultimate Evolution will be used, and ADRD is hoping to turn it around here with the Thorough's help.
Yeah, Aethera is still there. Zarmony could, of course, jump in again. Genji is at the top, reclaiming the next beacon. They want the wave now. They have 16 versus 16. They have the talents. They just need a bit of momentum, and that would be so important for them to get the objective. Mopsio is low, but he survives, and now the rotation starts to the top as Expert is trying to reclaim at least one of the beacons, but they are gonna arrive so late, but just in time to prevent it.
They're gonna go ahead and start channeling here. A Thorough at 98%. No, just barely misses out. And Team Wish will get the Zerg wave. They have defended. They've gotten level 16. And in terms of talents, they're in the game.
They're actually back. They're back in this. They still have only 65% on the core. That's a problem because it would allow at some point Expert to maybe go for a backdoor attempt. If they go for a double Greymane with Abathur, they can really try and burst the core down later on with Brightwing buying them some time with Emerald Wind. That is something that you have to be aware of, so you always need to at least maintain some of the vision at the top lane to make sure that play doesn't work out. But here comes ETC again. Mopsio missing the slide. They try to get it against Nick, but the cleanse comes through. Curson paying attention here and saving Greymane. The push on the bot lane, on the other hand, is also something to consider, but it's not going to threaten the keep.
Some may be asking why these ETC stage dives aren't as aggressive as you would normally see. With that Brightwing beyond the opponents, you can have that Emerald Wind into the Polymorph. You can separate the team a little bit too much. So we have Mopsio playing a bit more reserved in these stage dives. It's more important for them just to be here with this team. They're pushing in now. The keep is taking some damage here from the Guardians.
In an ideal world, they take the keep. but they don't commit to it yet. They are back in experience, which is huge. If they can get the keep, that would be fantastic because it would relieve the pressure from the top lane. But now they're just regrouping, taking for now. Keep in mind, this is like 10 kills against 2. They just started to get some kills here. And it really started with that claim on the boss a little bit earlier when Expert missed the rotation towards the boss. The funny thing is that Expert knew it would happen. They were trying to intercept the rotation, but they didn't realize it was already past them. So right now, again, the time trap here. They're trying to go and burst a copy of ADRD down, and it will soon expire. And then that's a massive cooldown burn where they can try and play around it a little bit. But it's just amazing that Wish was able to come back after that beating they took in the early game.
And good news here, if you are a Team Wish fan, Black Harvest has been finished up on that level 4, but also Chromie getting closer and closer to finishing her quest. 8 away from finishing the Sandblast and getting that Echo, which will be very helpful in clearing out those clones.
Malthael's Power Spike alone is fantastic. Now that he has his Black Harvest completed and he has Memento Mori on level 16, we talked about the synergy a bit earlier. This is fantastic. It's amazing for him in team fights. He can go really deep this is and keep himself alive. But Chromie, as you said, if she completes it as well, her damage output is just going to increase so much. And it comes back to what we said earlier. Expert wants to snowball early. Wish wants the team fights on eye level, and they are currently getting them.
7 stacks away for Chromie. Defending the bottom lane is Team Wish, able to grab the Merc Camp to slow it down as well. It looks like the next team fight on the Beacon Progress is going to be the big deal for both of our teams here as they're taking their time to clear up everything heading their way.
Yeah, and as long as they now take the top of heart, that's both of the camps that we saw there. And with the camps now not an option anymore and the beacons coming into play, this is really where Expert is in a position where they have to be really careful. Again, ADRD with his very trademark Abathur mine traps that he has here, but at this point in Europe, everybody kind of knows that this is a thing. So they are absolutely paying attention here. But Wish is again forcing a fight around the boss.
That they are. Bad Benny looking for the fight on the side. Poik does take some decent damage here. A Thorough on the back comes around looking for the Chromie. Ancestral Healing will be used early. Mopsio goes for the power slide, hits 2 members, knocks him back.
Immediate Ancestral, and now of course we're talking once again about Malthael in particular. Cocoon is already out and Malthael can one jump in once again.
Timeout.
Here comes the wind. Timeout being used. They're saving Poik for now. Poik is alive. The copy is down. Sonya is dead. And all of a sudden, Team Wish is just completely taking control here. This is insane. Grand Paquette with such a heads-up play. They see the flank of Sonya, and the first thought is, if that spear hits, Chromie is toast. So Grandpa throws the Ancestral out early. They go into a fight. The timeout keeps her alive, but now Malthael is dead, and that's bad news. Everybody's on the boss as we are seeing Rhaegar explode. The boss is taken by Team Wish. They get the kill against Anubarak. This game is insane at this point.
That it is. Anubarak is down for 55 seconds, but also Malthael and Rhaegar are not up for Team Wish. It's all about the beacons now. ETC heads to the north. He'll be able to grab that beacon. Is anyone going to rotate to the bottom side? No. Team Expert has full control of it for now, while Team Wish takes their time to tap up, get some healing back inside there, and they'll go from there here as we are heading towards level 20.
This game is getting insane. The talents and all the quests on Chromie now completed as well. Bottom about to fall. The 20 is going to hit really soon. The beacon control is taken. Get all that bacon right now. We have massive waves coming through here. If they get the 100%, that would be awesome. Curson on the move up to the top, but guess who? It's the Ninja. Genji is on the way now as well, making sure that he reclaims it quickly. Pays attention, gets the vision from Chromie. Well done, so it doesn't face check the bush here. In the meantime, Mopsio buying some time with the face melt down at the bot lane and making sure that they get even more. 64% in their favor already, and they have their level 20. And now, of course, when we're talking about Malthael, we're talking once again about the final curtain here. Malthael in particular is just so important in these fights at this point.
He will control the zones well there. Any covey will be picked up pretty quickly there by the Malthael with that curtain. There it is, already controlling the bottom side. If anyone walks through it, taking that Reaper's Mark and getting set up. It's all coming down to one beacon on the bottom side as we have Mopsio standing forward with the slowing sands helping him out.
They're getting control again. They get the control, and now
70%.
Expert is forced to do something here.
Look at the top lane
They need to try and go in. The top lane is pushing, but still they're losing the beacon. They need to go in for it, and they're trying to, but they can't get the control. And now we have 100% against 0% wave moving through the bot lane. Expert has 20. Here comes Mopsio once again with a slide, tries to get it, but here comes immediately the cleanse, and once again we're having Genji charging to go in with a quick ult. 80 already losing the copy in a second. The Cocoon is already out, and that means that Expert is retreating now with a lot of their defensive cooldowns used. The copy is gone, Cocoon is gone as well, as they are gearing up for defense, which is going to be incredibly difficult.
Team Expert with all 4 will have to defend. At the same time, the Zerg wave is pushing on the top side. Should be able to get cleared up by just the core itself. Team Wish is putting all their eggs in one basket here as they push in for the win. Athuro has a flank set up. His target, Chromie or Rhaegar.
Athero is there. Poik sees him though, and so does Grand Paquette. The Shat jumps out immediately to help out if he needs to. The keep is gone. They can try and see if they can get a kill or maybe go for the core here. Athero once again trying to lurk around here, but the entire time Grand Paquette making sure that he has a totem ready to slow him down. Polymorph once again against Mopsio. He's in a bit of trouble. Answer still not used just yet, but Nubarak moves in, tries to get it. Here comes one quick ult, and Grandpa survives. Goes in for the kill against Sonya. He goes in. The dog fights, takes him down. Nick is low, and Shat is just completely obliterating the entire backline and gets out alive. 4 kills against 0. Team Wish is moving towards the core in an insane game on Brax's holdout.
With a sliver of health, Shad and the rest of the crew will head straight towards the core. Mopsio's got the catapults on lock, and Team Wish takes a game that we counted them out of. Comes back with some brilliant gameplay, great stage dives. They'll go straight for the core, and they're going to tie up the series against Team Expert.
Team Wish goes in, and that's the core. This is it. What an insane comeback in game number 2 as Team Wish ties this series.
Glong, I have no words.
Did you see Rhaegar in that last fight? He had no hit points. He sees Sonya.
That was insane, dude.
He waits so long for that Ancestral. The entire time. Mopsio's in trouble. Nah, I'm fine. Dude, he gets the cleanse, and then at some point they get both stunned. He just moves out, has no hit points left, throws the Ancestor and says like, wait a second, I can kill Sonya, and jumps back in.
Yeah, it was actually insane. And like this game in general was a perfect example of what happens when you get really far ahead and you get inside your own head about like what because you have so many win conditions available to you, you try and pick and choose which one you want to go with, and then you choose between multiple, and it all falls apart. And I feel like that's exactly what happened for Team Expert. Team Wish, even in the scenarios where they were forced to use a global and were at that disadvantage, they still played it well enough, and Expert didn't apply the right pressure to come back. And it actually was insane. And in this first clip, this team fight sort of illustrates, if we can pause right here, Team Wish, recognizing what their win condition is and how to execute, they know they're a keep down at this point versus an Abathur composition, but they are better in 5v5 team fights, and they recognize if they win a team fight on this boss, then they'd be able to potentially secure a Zerg wave and a keep. So now as we play through this, I'd like to watch as a team how Wish kites up and to the left. And the Ancestral on Chromie, some people might not like that Ancestral, but it's actually really, really helpful because it allows Poik to not use Ice Block and get into a really good position. And the way they kited throughout this team fight, the boss was just continually doing damage to Team Expert. And Poik, because of the Ancestral, was able to save his Ice Block until such a crucial moment. It forces Athero to, you know, stay in a position where he could potentially die. And Team Wish ends up kiting out of this team fight just so impeccably well. And another illustration of incredible kiting will be here on this second replay. And on the second replay, if we pause right here and just take into consideration what had happened at this game, they had just gotten a Zerg push, and it's like a really crazy comeback scenario where both teams are under a lot of pressure, but Team Wish keeps the composure and control to kite properly and as a team. And unfortunately, Athero misses this spear on Mopsio, which potentially could have threatened the kill. But either way, they kite really well as a team, and I'd really like to highlight Zarmony in this team fight. He splits apart and just deals so much team fight damage with that Malthael here. And Shad, he's able to, with that level 20 Dragon Blade, attract the attention of the enemy team and just sort of clean this fight up. But Team Wish, they kept their composure throughout this game. They recognized what their win condition was. No matter how hard it was to execute, they went for it and made the execution work.
Welcome to playoffs. That's all I have to say.
Especially the first boss that they got. That was
really smart.
That they got the boss in the first place.
The only chance they have to come back.
They have to force the fight. But Expert, I would really love to hear if they... It seemed they missed it. It seemed that they missed the rotation towards the boss and they were trying to intercept it instead.
That's just an they were overthinking things, I think. And that's when it comes down to there's so many things on your mind. There's so many avenues of how we can win instead of let's do something to win. As someone who has experienced shot calling, it's always in the back of your mind. You want to be like conclusive and direct with whatever you do, and it's so hard to consistently do that.
It was insane to see. I mean, we talked in the draft about how, okay, team fight advantage goes over to Wish, but the early game with Abatha, with Right Wing, the quick rotations between lanes, you mentioned the snowball that could happen there, and that's exactly what happened. They got 9 kills against 0. They did so well, 2.5 level lead at some point, but then they just didn't die. They never fell, and at some point those team fights came through, and that they were able to just keep that state of mind where they say, we haven't lost yet. It's not over until the Fat Panda sings, let's go in, take it down.
I think they kept their composure and defended really well from Wish's perspective, too. That's a hard comp to play into when you only have ETC as your global.
Well, with it all said and done here, we are tied up 1-1. Let's get ready for game number 3. We'll be right back. This is the HGC Playoffs.